ILTV Plus, your news from Israel and more 24/7. Start your free trial today. Subscribe at ILTV.tv and watch from any device. All right, now for our final story tonight. For the past few months, we've been showing you short videos from our friends in Ulpan-Or, but we've never actually had the privilege of showing you a success story through their program, and that changes now. Joining us in studio is Yoel Ganor, CEO and co-founder of Ulpan-Or, and via Zoom, Dr. Jeffrey Copin, who works as a CMO in Northwestern Medicine Lake Forest Hospital. Thank you so much for being with us. Now, Dr. Copin, I'll start with you, actually. What caused you to start studying Hebrew, and what got you so intrigued?
Well, something I always wanted to do. I have some Hebrew going back to when I was a kid. I went to Hebrew school like so many North American Jews have done. I grew up at Camp Ramah, so I learned Hebrew there. But over the last decade, after my wife and I acquired an apartment in Jerusalem, learning Hebrew became a real priority for me. Wanted to be able to speak directly with Israelis, watch Israeli television, read Hebrew newspapers, read novels, really understand from the inside what's going on in Israel. And Ulpan-Or gave me that opportunity.
So Yoel, I'll turn to you then. How was the learning process, especially from a teacher's perspective?
Okay, actually, Orly and we met Jeff in Chicago a couple of years ago. And he already was at an advanced level that time. However, we noticed that his speech wasn't so structured, and he didn't really know the insights of Israel. So we told him, why don't you study Hebrew with us to be able to understand news, media in Israel, Israeli jokes, And Jeff did that. So now one of his favorite expressions is totally, truly Israeli one, Yeh beseder, which means it will be okay, it will be all right. So he understands now TV, media. He listens to Effie Trigger's, radio program in the morning. So Jeff is almost Israeli now.
So Dr. Copin, how did you succeed in keeping up with your studies, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic? How did you find time in your busy schedule to do this?
Yeah, Aaron, I'll tell you, it's actually the opposite. During the darkest, deepest days of the pandemic back in March through June of 2020, I found looking forward to my Ulpan Shiurim with Coral, my teacher, was something that kept me going during the week. It was spiritually nourishing, literally, and doing my homework, preparing for our classes was just wonderful. I was putting in 14, 15, 16-hour days like I'm a mitmacheh in Israel. That's what it felt like, even though I'm a senior physician.
So you're satisfied with the results, I take it?
Very much, very much. Like Yoel said, I'm fully capable now of listening to the radio, reading the newspaper. I can read novels, and it's been a challenge, but a great accomplishment. And now my wife, Beth, is also participating in Ulpan-Or, and watching her Hebrew develop like it is fantastic. We actually find ourselves speaking Hebrew to each other in our home here in the Chicago area.
All right, so again, as someone who went through this frontal and online experience of learning, and Yoel, and for teaching Hebrew for that matter, how was the experience overall?
Well, we are so happy whenever any of our students can come to Israel and study with us face to face and experience the rich life of Israel here in person, going to the market, buying stuff, communicating with Israelis, with the natives in Hebrew. And Jeffrey he's fully capable of doing that. And it's total joy to meet someone doing that in Israel.
Dr. Copin?
Yeah, no, I agree with you all. It really is a total joy. The one thing I have to say, though, obviously about the pandemic, we haven't been able to go back to Israel now. It'll be 2 years in February.
Wow.
Thankfully, with the technology that we have with Zoom, I'm able to continue my studies. I can continue to participate as much as possible in what's going on in Israel. So I'm looking forward. God willing, we'll be back in January. Yoel, I hope we get to see you in Orly. and to be able to sit together and be together back home in Jerusalem.
All right. Thank you both so much, Dr. Copin, Yoel Ganor. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef, for being with us today.
My pleasure.